So guys, now let us discuss the example program that we will going to discuss in order to understand thread cancellation. So the program file is present in this path, that is multithreading bible/thread basics/thread cancellation, and the name of the file is master_slave1.c, right? So I have implemented a very basic multi-threaded program, and the program is all about to create 5 threads, and all the 5 threads write a string into a file threadx.txt where x is a thread ID, right? So just assign some thread ID to each of these 5 threads, let's say 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, right? And then each of these threads create a file threadx.txt where x is a thread ID, and then each of these threads write a very simple string I am thread and thread ID into their respective files, right? So you can see that all the 5 threads write a string into their respective text file, and this is what this program does, right? So I'm in the file master_slave1.c, and you can go through this file implementation. It is very simple, and you can simply compile this program using shell script which I have written, and it will create an executable master_slave1.exe. Simply execute, and then simply execute this executable, right? Now when you run this executable, it will show you only one choice to select, which is cancel the thread, right? So you can see that in the main program I have implemented a main menu kind of approach, and the choice number 1 says that cancel the thread, right? Now the thread which needs to be cancelled is identified by taking an input from the user. That input is nothing but it is a thread ID, right? So you can see that as soon as the program starts, I am just creating 5 threads. Here this macro and slaves is equated to 5, right? You can change this number to any value as per your choice. So here you can see that I'm creating a loop and creating 5 threads, passing their respective thread ID as an argument, right? So if you go into this function, right into file, you will find that each of the thread is iterating into an infinite loop with the sleep value 1, right? And each thread is simply writing a text string into its respective text file. The name of the text file can be derived using sprintf function, right? Using sprintf function, you can cook up the file name using thread ID, and then you can open the file with that name in the right mode, right? And then your thread can enter into an infinite loop, writing a text string into its respective text file, right? So now in the another window, you can see that I had already executed the executable. It simply means that each of the 5 threads must be writing a string into their files. So if you look into this directory, you can see that corresponding to each of the 5 threads, their respective text files have been created, right? So using tail -f command, you can check any of these files and see whether the thread is writing the content into this file or not, right? So you can check any of these text files and you will find that each of the thread is writing this string into their file. So I expect you that you go through this very short program, which is only 90 lines of code, understand this program, and then in the next lecture video we will see how we can implement thread cancellation, right? Basically we need to implement this case number 1, that is we need to cancel the thread based on the user input. Here the user input is nothing but it is the thread ID, right? So if the user provides an input, say 3, we will going to cancel the thread with thread ID 3. Here thread ID simply will be the index of this array. This is the array which I have taken in order to represent the 5 threads writing the content into a text file, right? This is the array of thread handles. And at the time of creation of the thread, I obtained the thread handle from that array in order to pass as a first argument to this pthread_create API, right? So basically in this program, you have all the thread handles stored in this global array so that you have access to all the thread handles, and we will see that how we can make use of this global array storing thread handles in order to cancel the threads whose ID has been entered or asked from the user, right?